Power and accountability. This is Thucydidean logic made visible. The strong, nations with military alliances, economic leverage, and Security Council vetoes, do what they can. Ignore inconvenient rulings, shield their allies from accountability, and reframe legal obligations as political inconveniences. The weak, smaller nations, stateless peoples, those without nuclear arsenals or reserve currencies, suffer what they must. They are subject to the full force of international law when it suits the powerful, and abandoned by it when it does not. Prime Minister Carney warned against the return of power politics. But power politics never left. It simply became more visible. The structure of selective justice. What makes this pattern so important, and so directly relevant to everything this book has argued, is the mechanism. It is not that powerful actors simply break the rules. It is that they bend the institutions meant to enforce those rules. They apply pressure, they withhold funding, they question legitimacy, they change the subject. This is guided drift applied to international law. Active pressure, diplomatic, financial, political, produces a passive-looking result. Accountability that applies to the weak and evaporates for the strong. Sound familiar? It should. We have seen the same mechanism in Canadian tax policy, in the retreat of public services, in the structure of charitable foundations. The rules exist. The enforcement is selective. The selection favors those with power. And when ordinary citizens ask why a military superpower can remove a foreign head of state by force and face no legal consequence, while a person who missed a tax filing faces the full machinery of the state, the answer is the same answer this book has given throughout. It is not an accident. It is a structure. The powerful have shaped the rules so that the rules bend around them. What comes next, and why it matters here. In the days after Venezuela, Trump invoked what he called the Don Roe Doctrine. American dominance in the Western Hemisphere would never be questioned again. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said of Cuba, "If I lived in Havana and I was in the government, I'd be concerned." Asked directly about military action in Colombia, Trump's answer was, "Sounds good to me." On Greenland, a sovereign Danish territory and NATO ally, Trump said he would not rule out military force to acquire it. He used Venezuela as the proof of concept, and Canada. Trump had spent months calling Canada the 51st state, threatening economic coercion to force a merger, and signing an executive order asserting U.S. strategic interest in Arctic waterways. Waterways Canada considers its own. Former UN Ambassador and Ontario Premier Bob Rae said it plainly. The American government doesn't take Canada's sovereignty seriously. It would be a mistake for Canadians to think they are not on the menu too. This is not paranoia. This is the pattern made plain. A world in which the strongest power removes heads of state by military force, sanctions the judges who might hold it accountable, and openly signals that the same logic applies to its neighbors, is a world in which the rules no longer protect anyone who cannot protect themselves. It is a world where the social contract between states, like the social contract within them, has been quietly hollowed out, not through a single dramatic rupture, but through the accumulated weight of choices that were each individually allowed to pass without consequence. The mechanism is the same whether the subject is a Canadian tax code or a Venezuelan capital. Consistent pressure applied by those with the power to apply it, in one consistent direction, not conspiracy, not accident. Guided drift.